still a girl. And speaking of girls, we're with Miss Mopar. Tell us about your current projects. Tell us about the 72 that you rebuilt and the current stuff you're working on.
Okay, so the 72, my 1972 Dodge Charger, also known as the Little Black Dress, that's my baby. I got that just because I wanted something to cruise around. I was sitting in the back of my college class and I found it on Craigslist. And I jumped out of the chair in like my normal dramatics, and my professor's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine." I ran out. I called my dad. I was like, "You need to get up to Fleetwood, Pennsylvania and look at this car."
Wow.
And my dad's awesome. He's the best guy in the whole wide world. And he did it. And he went and looked at this car. And the next morning, we were trucking a trailer up there to get this car.
Nice.
And I didn't really intend for it to become as much of a project as it did. I just wanted to drive it. So my dad and I ripped the engine out. The transmission was frozen. The funny thing about the car is all electronics worked. The hidden headlights and everything, they popped right open. It had been sitting for 21 years. It had dead cats in it. The gasoline was like just turned to shellac.
Right.
Like it was a barn find.
Right.
And we rebuilt the engine together. It was my first total rebuild with my dad. Like it was just the most magical thing I'd ever experienced, because it was everything I'd ever dreamed of doing. And the night we finished the engine, we went in for dinner, and the next morning my mom passed away very suddenly from a brain aneurysm.
Oh,
and it sort of sucked the life out of all of us and the car. The car sat for a month and a half or so before I even looked at it again. And it was just one of those like sort of out of body, like spiritual like experiences to finally fire it up and drive it. And to this day I say my mama is my shotgun angel, and I'm sure that she is. But it went on to be in the first female owners display invitational at Carlisle Chrysler Nationals, and that was awesome. That was just like,
I didn't know they had that division.
Yeah, they had. It was in 2013. It was in the Y building. And it was just such a special experience to be able to be in there. And I mean, I think about those memories when I first finished that car, and it's just like I could still grin from ear to ear like a kid in a candy store, because it holds so many special moments in my heart. I got to share so many moments with my dad. I got to restore a car just like he did, which is what I always wanted to do. So the 72 is just my most special car. I know it's not the most desired year of the Chargers, and I don't care. It's mine, and there's not one out there like that. And it's just a 318, but it rumbles like a big block, and it turns heads everywhere that I go. I've never once got gas where somebody hasn't stopped and asked me about it. So I have that. And 2 years ago, I picked up a 66 Power Wagon. Or I'm sorry, mine's a 64. I had a 66, which is a long story that I don't have anymore. And I was so sad. And I wanted to sort of fill that hole in my heart.
Right.
And so I left a note for this guy for his Power Wagon, and he sold me it. So mine's a panel. The first one that we had was a Town Wagon with the windows in it. But it's just all patinaed out and fun, and you could just drive it around. You don't care if somebody runs their funnel cake fingers down the side of it at a car show. And
funnel cake fingers.
Yep.
Yep, that's
and
true.
then we have a 71 Roadrunner. That's been a perpetual project, but someday I'm going to get it done. I think my dad and I both have dreams of hearing that thing rumble into a car show. So I'm making that a priority.
Well, what would life be without perpetual projects, though?
This is true, and I mean, isn't any muscle car just always a project?
Yes, any old car is a project. That's for sure. You have sisters. Are they as into cars as you are?
My one sister is the proud owner of a 69 Dart Project car, and she's real big into the Jeeping community. She has a Cherokee aptly named Charlie. And so she goes to Roush and all the Jeep shows, Jeeps in the Vineyard, Jeeps at the beach, and the farm, and all those. She's my personal photographer, Brass Knuckles Photography. So she's very involved in car shows. She's always with me. She's the person that I want riding next to me all the time. Like, she's my buddy. And my middle sister, she had a little Dodge Neon named Nina for a long time, and that car needs to be a testament to the strength of Dodge because she put it through the ringer and back. She could not care less about a car. We don't know quite where she came from, but she's
yeah,
she's
wrong
certainly
gene.
yep, she's certainly a testament to, you know, if you want to hit a little Dodge Neon, you want to take out all those little orange traffic cones down the side of the road. Hers did it, and
still runs.
They're both wonderful, wonderful girls, and I
nice.
love them dearly.
Now, you have actually restored a car for a country singer, country star, I should say, and actually more than one. Tell me about this Grammy-nominated country singer.
Yeah, Jamie Johnson.
Jamie Johnson.
He came into my life like a whirlwind, and he left like one in the midst. He sent me a 74 Jeep CJ5 Renegade. And I didn't believe him. I got a text message at 3:48 in the morning one day, and it was like, hey, I hear you fix cars. I have this old Jeep. And 7 days later, it was getting dropped off at my house. Wow. And my dad and I are both standing there shaking our heads and sort of like, we didn't really think that it was true.
Yeah, you weren't out there as a restorer necessarily.
No.
Right.
I was just living my life. I'd met him once at a concert because I'm a fan, but...
Right.
So we did the Jeep, and it went from just sheer basket case to... It turned out quite well. I mean, I was nervous. I was 23 years old. The only experience I had was the 72 Charger that I just didn't care because it was mine, and I didn't need to make anybody happy but me.
Plus no deadlines, right?
Yeah, no deadlines. No, I didn't have to worry about budgets. I just did it as I wanted to. So to have my hobby become sort of a job was different, but it certainly was fun. I liked watching it come to life. I liked watching his expression when he saw it for the first time. I liked making him happy, and I think that we succeeded in the Jeep. And then we found the '66 Power Wagon. I got that after I was at the Hatboro car show, and I was walking out of a pizza place where I had to go buy 2 garlic knots so I could use the bathroom. And this guy's walking against me with a funnel cake, and I stopped dead to look at this Power Wagon, and he runs into me. There's funnel cake sugar powder everywhere.
Powdered sugar everywhere.
He's like, "Miss, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Sir, I don't care. Look at this truck." He thought I was nuts.
Right.
So I asked this guy, I'm like, "I want to have this truck." And he said, "All right, how much?" So I called Jamie. He said, "I'll be in town on Wednesday." And Friday, we were trucking down the turnpike from Croydon or somewhere with this Power Wagon. No license plate, no insurance. He just bought it. He didn't care. I'm a nervous wreck. So he left that, and my dad did a ton of engine work to it, just got it running. We ripped that around the car shows for a long while. Then he sent a semi up, and he took back the 66, and he gave us his 86
right.
Dodge, little D100, and that was the truck that drove him from Alabama to Nashville. So I was like, this is an important one, you know. If something's going to get in the Hall of Fame someday, it might be this.
That's
and
right.
if something I have my name attached to is going to be in the Hall of Fame, it needs to be good.
Right.
So that truck actually turned out quite beautiful. It was a factory medium tan metallic, code PU6, probably the dullest color you could ever pick in '86, but it actually turned out to be quite the beautiful little truck. And if I miss one of them the most, I think it's that one.
I pulled a quote from him online, him talking about that truck. "Last time I drove, it would be around 2000. Wow," Johnson recalls. "I took great care of it. It's got an inline 6-cylinder motor. It was a good truck. It wasn't in mint condition or anything, but it can be, and will be again as soon as I get it picked up and hauled to the right place," which ended up being you.
Yeah.
There's nothing particularly special about an '86 Dodge Ram pickup truck. The point is that this one was mine, and it meant an awful lot to me.
Yeah.
So,
that's Motor Trend, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I think
that's
I
right.
read that after I had done it. And, you know, I was probably 26 at the time. And to be a 26-year-old chick and you're reading a quote like that has been on, these huge publications, and here's this guy that you can't walk around Nashville without somebody stopping him, and he thinks the right place was me, and whatever happened, that touches my heart a little bit.
That's a great story. Just a great story. Does he live in Nashville now?
He does,
full
yeah.
time?
Mm-hmm.
I love his, he did a duet with Alison Krauss's When You Say Nothing at All, which a lot of people have covered, but his duet with her is really good. It's on YouTube if anybody wants to check that out. Jamie Johnson, great voice, old-time country voice, which is really, I'm a big Keith Urban fan, some of the modern stuff, but...
very traditional, and I think that's what drew me to him and drew me to his Mopars, is that there's just something authentic there. That's
cool. Have you been down to his place and seen his cars in their home?
Yeah, we visit Nashville quite frequently. My sisters and I just got back from a little road trip of the South, and that was one of our final destinations. Nashville's a great town. I highly recommend it to anybody that's just looking to get out there and live, and you could hit the Broadway and the honky tonks, but there's also just a lot of cool history in Nashville, and it's a beautiful city, and I would excitedly go back.
I love Nashville. Been there. Took my daughter there to see Keith Urban.
Oh, cool.
We just a spontaneous trip. We went down there for 2 days and saw the Grand Ole Opry, and Nashville's just great.
Yeah,
a lot of fun
for sure.
And probably a great car town too. There's a lot of
There's a lot of guys, down there that are into the classics. Another one of my friends from down Nashville, the Steelwoods, they're up and coming, and they are Mopar guys. So he has an old D100 and a Fury, and they put them on their t-shirts, which I just think is cool, because I think classic cars, especially the ones that are a little rough around the edges, and country music sort of go hand in hand.
100%. Tell me about your recent purchase, which you talked a little bit about in the last week on social media, and it's pretty exciting. Well, tell me the official name of that color too, because it's very unusual.
That is Dodge's new Destroyer Gray.
Destroyer Gray.
Yes.
Like a ship almost.
Yeah, like a battleship.
Mm-hmm.
That car came in about 2 months ago, and I remember watching it pull through the lot, and I was like, oh my God, I love this car. And my boss, Jeff Hahn, his lease was up, and I kept trying to get him to get it. He's a pickup truck guy. And I'm a pickup truck girl. I have a pickup truck. I never thought I would be a coupe or whatever. Right. I like to jump up high, I like to tow things, and so I was just trying to convince him to get it so I could borrow it sometimes. And then...
Because he lets you borrow his cars, which is cool.
He's super cool. He's an awesome boss. But I ran the numbers, and it was my 30th birthday. And I said to myself, if you're going to go big, go big. Like this
Go big or go home.
Yeah. So
Mopar or no car?
I kept it a secret for a week because I didn't want anybody to talk me out of it. Because people, they always have something to say about something. And I'm like, look, you have 3 babies. You have 3 dogs. Everybody has their vices. And mine just happen to have 4 wheels and be fuel powered. So I kept it a secret. I drove it off the lot on the 31st. My family was vacationing at a campground out in central Pennsylvania. And I drove it out there, and I pulled up, and they're so funny and awesome because they just laugh and take pictures and are excited for me, which I love.
That's very cool.
And my dad came running out of the camper, and he was like, how'd you set this up? I said, I bought it. And so he was pretty excited, and I always appreciate their enthusiasm.
And that's the 392?
It's actually just a 5.7 RT.
Okay.
It's like the least special, least well enough that I could justify adding it to the collection. It rips down the highway.
Yeah. So I assume then you've driven the sort of the Hellcats and the Demons and stuff like that.
They're so fun.
Yeah, it's a blast. It really is. I think some people should be trained. It's almost like a loaded gun. You got to be careful. There's a lot of power there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it can be just as deadly as a loaded gun, and that's something that when you're selling vehicles, there's like, oh, what about safety? What about safety? A lot of the safety comes from the nut behind the steering wheel. So be careful.
Right. That's right. Well, when we come back, we're going to ask Michaela about social media and the role that plays in successful car shows and her views overall on that. Right after these messages on CarSmarts Radio.